Welcome to the Week in Review, the show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. India's currency takes a severe beating. Petrol prices go up nationwide. And Bharti Airtel makes a play for the broadband market. First up, it's been a wild week for the rupee. India's currency took a beating for the first 3 days of the week, only to make a modest recovery on Thursday and Friday. All in all, the rupee was down about 1.7% for the week at 55.37 to the US dollar. This was the 8th straight week of decline for the rupee. Moving on, the troubles in the world economy are taking their toll on India. The services sector is expected to benefit from a weak rupee, but global uncertainty has cut into demand. Provisional data from the Reserve Bank shows services exports increased just 4% in the last fiscal to about $137 billion. Meanwhile, the import of services fell 3.8% to $81.1 billion. The new figures are the worst in a decade, with the exception of the 2009-10 period. IT industry lobby group NASSCOM says on-site and offshore exports grew a total of more than 16% during the fiscal to about $70 billion. And in other news, the UPA government has finally bitten the bullet and delivered the pain. On Wednesday, state-run oil companies announced a dramatic hike in petrol prices. Excluding sales tax or VAT, petrol prices across India are up by 6 rupees and 28 paise per litre. Government-owned fuel marketing companies took losses of nearly 5,000 crores last fiscal because they sold their products at below market prices. And switching to telecom, Bharti Airtel could soon get a head start in the upcoming battle for wireless data services in India. On Thursday, the company announced it would acquire a 49% stake in Qualcomm India's broadband venture. Under the deal, Airtel will buy a 26% stake currently owned by 2 Indian firms. The remaining 23% will come from fresh equity. All in all, the deal will be worth about $165 million. And Airtel is slated to take on the existing debt of $1 to $1.2 billion only after 2014. Bharti Airtel's acquisition will allow it to offer broadband services in major telecom circles like Delhi and Karnataka. And moving to earnings, Tech Mahindra's fourth quarter results have beaten estimates. Net profit rose to 303 crores from just 92 in the year-ago period. And sales grew 12% to 1,420 crores. The Tech Mahindra results come even as it is completing its acquisition of Mahindra Satyam. CEO Vineet Nair said the decision to fully integrate Mahindra Satyam was a wise one that was already paying off. And also in earnings, Jet Airways, India's largest airline, has posted losses for a 5th quarter in a row. The poor numbers came despite flight cancellations by its rival Kingfisher. Losses for the 3 months to March were 298 crores compared to a loss of 124 in the same period the previous year. Sales meanwhile gained 24.6% to 4,042 crores. It's hardly a good time for the airline industry in India. Indeed, a new study from aviation consulting firm CAPA expects massive losses. It says carriers in India will post a combined loss of up to $1.4 billion for the last fiscal. On the bright side, that's lower than CAPA's mid-year forecast of $2.5 billion. Rising fuel costs, a falling rupee and a slowing economy have all conspired to hit India's airline industry over the last 1 year. And here are some stories in brief. The UPA on Monday tabled a white paper on the controversial issue of black money. The paper suggested greater punishments for those dealing in black money. It also called for more scrutiny of sectors that are vulnerable to black money deals. These sectors include real estate projects, international trade and financial markets, and gold and jewelry. The Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development says India's economy is likely to rise by 7.7% of GDP during the calendar year 2013. But it warns that a policy paralysis could hurt the country's long-term prospects. The OECD forecast is a lot more optimistic than most others, which usually fall under the 7% mark. And finally, the government could change the way it estimates India's poverty numbers. On Thursday, it announced that C. Rangarajan, the PM's chief economic advisor, would head a panel that would review the process. In March, the government said an estimate arrived at 2 years ago by the Suresh Tendulkar committee did not reflect ground realities. And that's all we have for you. Thanks for watching.